Welcome to the Thunder. I'm Ethan,
I'm Josh.
and we're going to be talking about aliens, UFOs, or UAPs, and unknown technologies.
Yeah, and we're gonna start out with the Cape Girardeau, Missouri crash, which happened. Well, I don't look. Let's look up what year it happened. I don't know the exact year that it happened, but this crash, the account is actually told by a priest, and he says that he was woken up in the middle of the night from his phone ringing, and he answers the phone, and it's the police department. They want him to go to a crash. He thinks it's a car crash, but they just say it's a crash site to Crescent or forget what it's called, Crescent the deceased or something like that. Say a prayer for the deceased.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes there and shows up and gets out of his car and starts looking around. He realizes pretty quick that that's not any type of car he's ever seen before, you know. And he starts getting up closer. Police officer greets him and starts walking him over to the crash site, and pretty soon he sees that there's a couple bodies, and they start getting closer, and he thinks that they're children, like some dead children on the ground or something. And they get closer, and he realizes that they're not children, that they're not human. And they ask him to do the last rites. That's what it is on the aliens. And that's an account from a priest. There's other accounts too. I think there's some police officers that have came out and talked about it. And are you on Google right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. There's a book about it. Cape Girardeau, 1941. 1941.
Yeah, that was the first recorded UFO crash sighting. And they say that's where we learned how to build microchips. And some say that that's also where we learned Velcro. I don't know how that would have anything to do with Velcro, but
Hang on. Let me see. When was Velcro invented? 1941. Swiss engineer George de Mestral invented Velcro in 1941. How the hell didn't we invent that sooner?
yeah,
It's such a simple
know.
concept. You have straight lines and curled ones, and you.
Yeah, you think that'd be pretty simple. But we didn't have a whole lot of plastics and stuff back then, so that's when we were first getting introduced into plastics and everything.
That's probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to everything.
Plastics.
Yeah, like they said. I read an article the other day that said that they tested some brain tissue, and there was enough microplastic in the brain tissue to make like a plastic spoon.
Yeah, I've heard that we consume like an insane amount of plastic.
Yeah.
Throughout our lives.
And
I mean, that's a lot of it's just in our food blatantly.
Yeah, and a lot of clothes is made out of it, like what's that plastic that clothes is made out of? Is it poly?
Nylon.
Yeah, nylon. Apparently your skin just soaks right into the skin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and just gets right into your like bloodstream and shit, just straight from that way. If you wear nylon underwear, it's been proven that your sperm count is lower.
Huh.
Like it
I'm
messes,
gonna start paying attention to what my underwear is made out of now.
yeah, it like messes with everything, clogs up your pores.
I feel like nylon's probably like all my underwear is like slick, you know.
Yeah, it's probably all nylon.
Well, shit. You taught me something today.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that a lot recently. Like people are in other countries, it's banned. Actually, I think nylon's
Yeah.
banned in other countries, and they don't even sell it. Um, a guy went over to I don't know somewhere in Europe and went to the store. He like on his way there, his luggage got lost by the airport, and so he went to a like a store to get underwear and stuff, and he couldn't find the type of underwear that he normally gets, and so he went to the workers and asked them about it, and they were like, "We don't, you're not going to find that anywhere here." They were like, "You got to get this stuff because that stuff is poisonous."
Huh.
But we just sell it as clothes here. So,
Well, speaking about alien stuff and UFO crashes, what do you know about the Roswell crash?
so was that 1945?
I want to say like 47 or 49.
Yep, 47. Okay. So I know that like it was a crash at first. The government kind of didn't know what to say it was, and then they ended up saying that it was a balloon. But some guy that was there said that it was like a material that was kind of like foil, but you could crumple it up as much as you wanted, and it would like retake its shape. And then, of course, the military or whatever came out and said that it was the weather balloon after. I don't remember what they originally said it was. Did they
They
originally?
originally said it was a alien craft.
Yeah, okay, that sounds right. But that's really all I know, other than they covered it up
Yeah.
poorly, and then after that, they got pretty good about covering shit up.
Yeah, and supposedly they got at least one body from that craft.
Now, it was the body more like human looking, or was it more like alien looking?
There's a video online. Look it up.
As well.
There's a lot of different theories behind the Roswell crash, though. Some crazy, crazy stuff. I mean, it's all crazy. Honest, it all sounds crazy, but
Is it here? I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Uh, is it this picture here?
big ass head.
This one right here?
Yeah,
Huh. What's weird about this thing is it has 5 fingers.
yeah,
Because a lot of the grays that I've heard about, they don't have 5 fingers. They have 3 fingers and a thumb. Or yeah, 3 fingers and a thumb. But that's weird, and it just kind of looks like I don't know. It's doesn't look like there's a lot of reproductive stuff going on down here. Like I've also heard that the like how its eyes are all black. That's a contact lens.
yeah. I've heard that too.
but
I don't think that's what you would call a gray, though.
that wouldn't be a gray.
No.
Whatever it is, I don't think it's of any type of like. I wouldn't consider that a biological being.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of
Or if it
meat
is,
puppet or something.
yeah, yeah, it's more of a like a something else controls that deal. Because
Yeah.
that. Well, I guess it could be like not a mammal. Because I was thinking it doesn't even have nipples. You know, it has
Yeah.
no signs of.
Maybe it has some other way of reproducing, which is very possible. We have no idea
Yeah. So I guess it.
the biology of this thing.
Yeah.
But just based off common knowledge, that's what we would suspect, you know.
Yeah.
But you didn't see the video?
No, I didn't look at the video. Let me see. Is it?
Yeah, there is a video. They cut the thing open and
Oh, this is a full episode. Watch that.
yeah, you can watch it some other time, but it's kind of interesting. But another crazy thing about that though is there's also video of them flying it into the the air base or wherever the fuck military air base
That they took
or
it to.
wherever. Yeah, like
Hmm.
there's video of them rolling it out on the cart and everything, and I think like one of the doctors walks out there and meets them and like unzips the thing and like you see it, and then like the video goes to them in the lab and they're like cutting it open and shit.
Does it have normal organs or?
I don't remember honestly. I haven't seen that video for. I didn't research it. It's been a long time since I've like researched all this stuff. That this is like 10 to 15 years ago, probably when I was looking into this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing pictures like that specific picture. I remember seeing this on like when Coast to Coast AM was like you could get on their website and just look at crazy pictures.
Yeah,
I remember seeing these photos on there, but at the time, like I was a little kid and I was like, oh, that shit's probably fake.
yeah, yeah.
Like I always hoped it was real, but I was like, I don't know. Wouldn't just be online, I don't think.
Look up gray alien interrogation at Area 51. Look for a video of that.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Does it like start choking?
Yeah,
Yeah, that I feel like I saw something where they proved that that was a puppet.
I've heard both. Like, how can you prove that that's a puppet? You don't know its movements and everything, you know?
Right.
Like, if I remember correctly, they proved their defense on that it being a puppet was because of its weird, erratic movements and everything.
Yeah.
And like, I also heard a whistleblower saying that that's exactly how they move because they're not used to our gravity and our atmosphere, so they're like all jerky and like weird.
Right. Well, they got those tiny little necks and they're trying to hold up all
Yeah.
their their head. Yeah. But yeah, that video, from what I've heard, they've tried to debunk it anyway.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I don't know if it's real or fake, but I think it's worth looking at.
yeah, I've seen it a few times. I'm pretty sure I saw it back way back in the day because
Yeah.
I remember seeing it online and then on TV, probably something on the History Channel, seeing where they had like talked about it and said that it was a hoax. But do you remember like before History Channel was like about aliens and shit?
Yeah.
I wonder what happened. Like, what made that switch?
They wanted ratings.
Yeah.
And that shit that you get on there is pretty mostly complete bullshit.
Oh yeah. I hate
Like
watching
basic
that.
complete bullshit.
Like they're always like they always like they make it super dramatic
Yeah.
and then they're like basically like will they find something and then they never figure anything out.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's just that's been going on for like
Do they still make those videos?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's all History Channel does now is those things and I'm like who's your audience? Because you've been doing this for over 10 years now. You would think somebody 10 years ago who started watching that would be like, okay, like not still falling for the same trick.
Yeah. You guys aren't saying anything new at all.
Yeah. Like, oh, we're gonna revisit that same case that they got. Like there might be like a little bit of a like like a classified document got unclassified, and then it'll show that guy with the crazy fucking hair in the interview
Yeah.
room. And it'll be like, it suggests that this could
Have
be.
you seen that meme of him? Like, I guess when he first started out, his hair was kind of normal, but it goes like year by year. And then by the end of it, he's Super Saiyan.
That's funny though. But yeah, like just that guy is a nut. Who is that guy? What's his name?
uh, George Giorgio Tsoukalos, I
Giorgio
believe.
Tsoukalos. And what does he do for a living? Just those interviews?
I mean, he's an archaeologist
Oh,
or historian slash archaeologist.
like how the fuck?
Actually, I don't think he's an archaeologist. I think he's just a historian. I don't think he's ever dug anything up.
I don't see how he pays his bills unless History Channel's just paying
History Channel
everything for
pays his
him.
bills, man.
Yeah, there's like get on there and say crazy shit, but like he never.
Don't say anything, but say crazy stuff. Like, don't
Yeah,
say anything really, but just say crazy stuff.
yeah, because he never says like this is absolute proof. He's always like this suggests that it could possibly be, and
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, guy. He does Ancient Aliens a lot. That's the
Yeah.
one I've seen him on the most. And I
I
remember,
used to watch that shit all the time.
yeah, my favorite one that they came out with was the. Do you remember the hidden tapes or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Where they were like mock like fake tapes of like close encounters with cryptids and stuff.
yeah, I wanted that to be so real so bad. And like the first couple episodes, I was like, this is some good shit. But then after I saw one that was about like a giant snake or something, and that's when I was like, oh, these are reenacted because they make it seem like it's the actual tapes.
Yeah.
Lost tapes, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
That was a big disappointment.
Remember Monster Quest?
Monster Quest, yeah. Who was the guy on that? Was that George Corwin or something like that? Or
I don't think there was one specific guy, but I remember me and you used to watch the shit out of that.
yeah, Monster Quest. That was a pretty good one. Oh yeah, there was a
Yeah.
bunch of people on there.
That wasn't too bad.
It was
But
good
that
for the
was
time, but now I'm sure if I watched it, I'd be like, this same bullshit.
yeah, I mean it is the same information over and over and over again. They never go anywhere with it.
Uh-uh.
Like never get into any real research or anything.
They it only ran for 4 years.
Yeah, Monster Quest did not last long. I think me and you were the only ones watching it.
Huh. Yeah. There was uh another one. There was a guy, something Corwin, that I used to watch a lot, but I can't remember.
Jeff Goldblum?
Maybe Jeff Corwin.
Isn't that the alligator hunter?
No, no, Jeff Corwin. He used to have like the it was like the Corwin experience or something like that, where he would go like do shit with animals, like find different types of animals and stuff like that. And then he started doing one that was about
Oh,
cryptids.
Josh, Josh something,
Gates?
Josh Gates.
Yeah, that's who it is.
And
What's
the
the
only reason I know his name was Josh because my name's Josh.
Yeah, I actually thought he was a cool dude.
Yeah, did you see the one where they found the? I mean, they don't catch them close on camera, but it's obvious that they're like pterodactyls, petrodactyls.
Oh,
Like
I don't
they
know.
catch them on video, like in the air at night. They glow like that, like lightning bugs, glow. Like,
Pterodactyls did that?
yeah, I didn't,
Huh.
I didn't know that, but in the video they talked to a lot of locals and tribes and stuff in the area, and the tribes describe them doing that. And then, like, I did research on it, and the tribes do describe them doing that, and it makes complete sense. Like, they're big mammals in the air that are traveling pretty fast, so
Big,
they're gonna need some way to. Well, reptiles.
okay. I was like, I don't know about mammal.
Yeah, not mammals, reptiles. But
Destination
they're moving
Truth.
really fast, so they would need some way of like
Communicating?
distinguishing between each other.
Yeah. Huh. No, I didn't. I've probably seen the episode, but I don't remember that one specifically. But I have seen some really convincing videos and photos of people who have supposedly either caught pterodactyls like flying over, or like
Yeah,
they've killed it and they have it like hung up, and it's
yeah, I've
just this.
seen pictures of that, like old time pictures.
Yeah, and it was like the
Some of them are cropped and like photoshopped, but
oh yeah,
I think there's a few of them out there that are real.
yeah, yeah,
That's what the Indians called the Thunderbirds.
yeah. I was about to ask if you'd heard of the Thunderbird, because I just heard a story the other day where somebody said that like a Thunderbird came down, their kid was playing outside, and a Thunderbird came down and tried to pick their kid up, and they had to run
Yeah,
out there and like fucking scare the thing off, and it ended up dropping the kid and flying
yeah.
off. But they said it was huge, like the biggest thing they've ever seen. And it,
Which I mean, have you ever seen an eagle like fully, like a big American eagle, just like fully spread?
yeah,
Like they're pretty big.
yeah. I think how big is their wingspan? It's like more than
I think
six
it's close
foot.
to 6 foot. Yeah, and they're only like probably 3 foot tall, two and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah. Let me see what's the biggest eagle.
I think the bald eagle's the biggest eagle. Bald eagle's the king of eagles, man.
Okay, no, it's the harpy eagle, and its wingspan is 7 feet.
Huh.
Well, this kind of well, not there's like one thing that says the harpy eagle, and then there's another thing saying the giant Philippine eagle. So I guess it's, but it doesn't even give the wingspan on the Philippine eagle. But yeah, the harpy eagle apparently six,
Well, I just
7 foot.
Googled it and it says Stellar's sea eagle, 8 feet wingspan of 20 pounds.
Okay, so Google doesn't know. This is what it sounds like. Okay, now I'm getting Steller's sea eagle. Oh, okay, Steller's sea eagle, the harpy eagle, and the Philippine eagle.
All the same thing.
I guess so. So yeah, 7 to 8 foot wingspan. That's gigantic.
Yeah. But I mean, you would think something that would be flying would have a large wingspan, though, to lift your body weight, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, how much could they weigh?
It said they weigh up to 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I was gonna say, I remember Debbie, that African gray parrot.
Yeah.
When she would get on my arm, it was like taxing. Like I wouldn't have been able to hold her for very long
Yeah.
because she weighed a lot.
I did not like that bird.
No, me neither. She was a bad bird.
Should we go back on subject?
Yeah, we're so we got to uh Nevada. What was that one?
Yeah. Roswell?
Roswell, yeah. What comes after that?
Um, well, I mean, there's all kinds of alien crashes and encounters that you can talk about after that. But I think the most interesting story that comes after that, when it comes to that particular topic, would be the have you ever heard of the Ebens?
Mm-hmm. You mean to do
Okay.
that?
No, it was popping up. I was just trying to get it to go away. But that I think what we saw in the Roswell pictures and
That was an
videos,
even.
I think that's what the Ebens are. They're
How do you,
described similar as grays, but they're not. They don't have as big as eyes, supposedly, and
yeah, that
they're described a little differently.
yeah, I'm looking at pictures of like drawings of them,
Yeah,
and that looks about right.
yeah. Which, have you ever seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I started to watch it the other night, but it's so fucking boring.
It's a long movie, yeah.
Like I got about halfway through it, and then I was like, this is not as action packed or as scary as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. Well, that movie is based on supposedly this story. This true story is what whistleblower. Oh, there's a lot of whistleblowers that have come out and talked about this. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to say it's true. I'm not going to say it's fake. I think it's interesting though. And so what happens in that movie, in the very end, there's a group of people, like there's a few people that get on board with these aliens and take off, and that's the end of the movie, right?
Okay.
So this movie was based on this story that has been told by a lot of whistleblowers that it all starts back. It's really a long fucking story, and I don't remember all of it, but this one guy who was in the military, I think aircraft crash retrieval. He worked, that was his job, and he ends up coming up to a UFO crash. the Ebens can project their feelings, I guess, on people, or either that, or some people are more susceptible to feeling like their feelings. And he said walking up to this craft, like he just got this like immediate like feeling of dread and like sadness. And he kept going up, and this alien was there, and like it was in the process of dying or whatever. And he I forget exactly what he did, but this guy ends up saving this alien, and him and the, which is an even, and this even describes to him like that they take like personal friendship like super serious, and like when somebody does something like that, like they're linked together for life. And so the military takes this being, and they're trying to like study it and communicate with it and get information from it and everything. And he's like, no, I'm not going to talk to you guys. I want this dude. And so they end up getting this guy in there, and he's like he's the translator basically. And eventually, somehow down the road, like humanity and the Evens come into some kind of
Like
like
an
agreement
agreement.
with each other. Yeah. And there's a lot of them around here, but they're not from anywhere around here. Like to get to their planet takes like a long fucking time.
Yeah, I think they're from it's that one, it's like Sirius, something like that. Isn't that what it's called?
I I mean, I don't think the Evens are from there.
It,
You're thinking of the Greys, I think.
uh no, this one, the ones that I'm thinking about isn't a gray. But it's also, it can't be an even because they look like people with big eyes. But they're from like Sirius. There's three Sirius planets.
Yeah, pretty
And
serious stars.
yeah, and this one said that it was from like Sirius A or B or something like that.
Yeah, there's different planet constellations around each Sirius star, and yeah, that's the star group. Like their star is what A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, this would have had to have been a pretty long time ago, because I feel like we've had technology that can travel from one place to another in an instant, and we wouldn't have had a long travel there. Like this alien civilization didn't even have that ability to do that.
Yeah.
And that, which makes it even more believable to me, because like they saw some of our technology that we had that we don't know about, and they seen that we could work together and like maybe advance even further. So they wanted to get a group of humans. Like we came to an agreement to send a group of humans up there with them to live for a while. And it was some I think military doctors, engineers, and stuff like that went up there with them.
And then some of them stayed, right? We
Yeah,
traded the same amount.
some of them did stay. Well, we didn't trade. So I think there were a couple people that decided to stay there, and most of them came back. And on the way there, I think one or two of them died, like on the way to their planet. So they were really suspect of us when we got there.
Hmm.
And supposedly their planet had multiple suns. Like there was like no, I don't think there was any sunlight there or day or night time there.
Hmm.
It sounds like you've heard some of this because you
Yeah, I've been
said
watching a lot
something.
of yeah, I've been
Yeah.
watching a lot of shit about it. But the thing I'm talking about is a different thing because
Well, yeah.
well,
What you were talking about, I think you're talking about the tall grays, is what they call them.
maybe I can't remember. So when it comes to I've heard a story about the guy who was like with his it was a guy, he was in the military, he had some other people with him, they were driving, and they either like came across a crash or something like that on the side of the road, like a UFO crash, where they saw a crash of something, but they didn't know what it was. That's what it
No,
was.
I know, you're talking about Rendonshaw Forest.
Right now, what I'm
Right?
describing?
That's what it sounds like to me. There's two military guys run up on this triangular aircraft floating in the timber.
No.
Is that
No,
no?
this was out in the desert, and the guy, they're driving and they see this thing crashed out there, and so they like stop and go check it out. Two of them go check it out. Two of them stay in the car, and like there's like a body, and they thought the guy was it was nighttime, and they thought the guy was like hypotherm like had hypothermia because he
Oh
was
yes, I know what you're talking about because he was like
kind
purple
of
in color.
yeah, he was kind of bluish colored, and so they like put their jacket around him and got him up to the car, and then one of the guys was like, "This guy doesn't have any ears,"
Yeah,
and so the other guy heard him say that, but like didn't really pay attention to it, and it was when they got up to the car that he realized that this guy's eyes were like huge on his head, and like the alien was basically like do you didn't speak any words but was like
yeah,
communicating telepath.
telepath.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I can send you the exact podcast. It is.
yeah, I no, I've watched it,
Did
and
I send it to you?
no, I just came across it.
Who did you watch it on? Whose podcast did you watch it on?
Joe Rogan's, I believe.
No, I don't think Joe Rogan's interviewed this guy yet.
It's a new one. They just did it maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
I don't think Joe Rogan's talked to this guy yet.
He's like
I don't know.
he's like a
But yeah, continue on. It is a great story.
yeah, so like he said like he immediately notices like when he looks at the guy, like yeah, he doesn't have any ears. He's kind of a blue color, like he's white, but he's still like got blue undertones. And
Yeah.
his eyes are massive, and but they look like human eyes. They were just really big. And this
And
thing
he
like
says he needs help,
yeah,
like
he asks for
mechanical help.
yeah, he asks for a certain kind of material. And the guy thought it was a metal that he was looking for.
Yeah, he's like, oh, the airbase over there might have it.
Yeah, and the alien was like, "I'm not gonna go over to those." He calls them like barbarians or something like that.
Yeah.
And so the guy was, yeah, so the guy was like taking college classes at the time or something like that, and knew some professor that might know what this guy's talking about. So he's like, "I know this professor," and mentions that to the alien. And he said that the alien just kind of like doesn't really, just kind of goes like doesn't really react. He just kind of goes and then turns
Yeah,
around and
and
walks
walks
off.
off.
And that that one I've heard about. Um,
Yeah, he hasn't interviewed this guy.
What's the guy look like? What's the guy's
I think I
name?
sent you the link to that.
No, no, I was watching this on Joe Rogan's podcast just like last
No,
week.
no, you were not.
Yeah, because it's him and another dude in the podcast. There's two guys
Yeah,
that do the podcast.
there's two guys in the podcast. Oh wait, no, he did. Yep, you're right. 10 days ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just watched
Picture,
it the other day.
the picture didn't have all three of them in it. It just is like a faraway picture.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like it's a good podcast. I just watched it.
The podcast I watched, they were actually talking. They were like, "We're trying to get it." They were like saying, "We're trying to get on Joe Rogan, but right now he thinks we're batshit crazy." You know.
Well, something must have changed.
Well, yeah, the information lines up.
And like,
Like you can look up his military credentials,
yeah.
and he's in the areas that he's saying he's in.
Uh, do you know much about what the other guy had seen?
Uh-uh. I
The
only listened to that one guy's story, and I didn't listen to the others.
Yeah, so the other guy is from, he's not from the United States. He's like British, I think. And I guess our military went over to like Britain or wherever, and
Yeah,
on their way there they saw UFOs in the sky. And they were like, that's not us. Who, I wonder who that is. And they when they landed, this guy started asking the other British soldiers like recognized that he was British, and he was a part of the Air Force is what it was. And so they invited him to come fly with them. And so he like asked his commanding officer or whatever if he can go fly with them, and the commanding officer said yeah. So he goes and flies with them and starts asking them what that thing is or what those things are. And the British kept being like, you know what they are. And he was like, I don't know what they are. And he says that they went back and forth like several times. And finally, the British was just kind of like, oh, we thought it was American. They thought it was us.
yeah. I mean, I would not be surprised if a lot of countries do just assume it's us.
Yeah. But apparently,
Because I guarantee we assume, well, some of the military people that see them probably assume that they're other countries.
yeah, I know that I mean, we always see them and assume that it's either China or Russia.
Yeah. Which in a way it is.
Did you hear about that egg that was found in Antarctica?
Egg?
Yeah, like they found an egg.
I have not heard of this, no.
Yeah, it's like this giant egg that it was in Antarctica, and there was like a cap, like a kind of looks like a big coffin almost. And apparently, like when they flew up to it, a guy raised up out of the coffin looking thing and like started looking at him. But there's this giant round thing, and there's video of them. The helicopter ended up picking up the egg and like transferring it, and there's video of that. Um, but I guess it was like some alien thing, and
So
they
this is all where did you hear this?
this I heard about maybe on TikTok. I can't remember. It was just the other day. It was all over my TikTok actually the other day.
Okay. So see if you can find like anything on this because I'm deep into this shit, and I have not heard of this at all. Which makes me kind of suspect, but
Yeah, I'm
I
just
hope I hope it's not.
yeah, I've already found it. Like just look up like Antarctica
Shit,
egg UFO. Okay. Yeah, let me Antarctica. See if I can get some footage of it here. Okay, so can you see this?
Yeah.
So
What
that's
kind of footage is this?
what kind of footage?
Yeah.
It's supposedly from the from the military.
Hold on. Go back. That picture you showed before, though. Yeah, that's not.
That's like the coffin thing that I was talking about. They said that there's a guy in there that comes out, but that's not on video, or that footage wasn't released or something. And then um, it, this should show where they actually pick the egg thing up with the helicopter and
Okay. That other image looks more like a satellite generated image.
yeah, no, these are just screenshots from the video. Yeah, here's the video. Uh, God damn it. Why can't they just show the one fucking thing? Okay, this looks like it's gonna be a whole fucking deal. This is what I'm looking for right here. Maybe. Okay, yeah, here we go. This is them transporting it. Do you see this?
Where the
Here, watch. This is them transporting the giant egg thing.
Oh yes, I did see something about this.
What I'm not clear about, or what I'm not sure about, is either somebody came out of the egg, like an alien came out of the egg, or the alien rose up out of that rectangle deal. And anyway, they taught it English. And there's an interview. It's not like a video interview, but it's an audio interview. You should look that up. But I don't know how legit the audio interview is. Like, it sounds like a Russian dude. But it's supposedly he learned English in like an hour. And then we interviewed him. But to me, he sounds Russian. There's definitely like a language barrier, though. Like, he's like, they're asking him questions and stuff, and he's like trying to explain it, but you can tell that he doesn't know what words to use.
Huh. That's really interesting. And it's not Russian.
What do you mean it's not Russian?
Well, it's not a Russian accent.
That's what it sounds like, a Russian accent.
Yeah, but it's not a Russian accent.
Have you heard it, or are you listening to it?
No. I'm just assuming based off the knowledge that I know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. To me, I don't even really know that I totally know what a Russian accent sounds like. I guess I do from like video games.
It'd be like more of an Aramaic accent.
Yeah, maybe, but like less like I don't know. It sounds like it definitely sounds like a white guy,
Yeah,
but he's got like a real deep voice
yeah,
and just the way he like I don't know, the way he uses his voice and talks and stuff, it sounds to me, I immediately thought it sounded like Russian people.
yeah. More Middle Eastern, probably. Honestly, closer to the Middle East.
But no, like when I think of a Middle Eastern accent, I think of like
You're thinking of like you're thinking of like
I don't want to say something that comes off wrong, but I know
Israeli accent.
like I'm think
I guess it would be more
like when you say Middle
not
Eastern,
Russian, Israeli.
maybe I don't think I know what Israelian sound like. I just know when you say Middle Eastern, I think of like gas station.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
not what
and
I'm
that
talking about.
okay, yeah, and I was like, that's not what this guy sounded like at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's not what I'm picturing in my head.
they showed like a mock sketch of what this guy supposedly looks like, or what his like people, what type of alien he looks like. And they're like real tall. They're super like their skin is like super pale white, and they're blondes with real
Yeah,
long blonde hair, like almost like a white
yeah.
blonde hair.
All of this is furthering my conclusion in what all of this is. Honestly,
And what's that? What's the conclusion?
exactly what I've told you.
Well, that
These
isn't.
are angels and demons,
Oh, so do you think that was probably a demon then? I'm guessing.
more than likely.
I mean, if it came out of an egg, couldn't be a mammal.
In the end of times, it says that the demons will be released upon earth.
Huh. Yeah, they ask it like why it was in Antarctica, and I can't remember the like it says something, but what it says doesn't answer their question. It's weird. Like it when it speaks, it like uses wordage that doesn't make sense to answer. Like it's like it
Yeah.
sort of understands what they're asking it, but it like answers. I don't know. It's you'll just have to listen to
I would
it.
assume it probably knows exactly what they're asking it. It's trying to confuse you.
Maybe because it definitely doesn't give like a right in like when I heard the interview, I was like that isn't the right answer. Not knowing what the right answer should be or is, but like when I heard it, my brain just automatically was like, that isn't what they were asking.
Yeah.
Like his answer did not answer the question.
What if Antarctica was the Garden of Eden, like where it all started?
Could be. I mean, there's apparently it's the like only place on Earth that every country can agree on.
And will not destroy.
Yeah, will not destroy, won't let anybody else go there.
It would make sense.
And I wonder, maybe that's where the Ark of the Covenant is.
There's probably a lot more exciting things there than that.
And that's probably where the Leviathan is. Or the Leviathan doesn't make sense to me. Like the size of it, according to the Bible, like would be so big that like if it were to walk on land, it would be like
It doesn't walk on land.
right, I'm saying if it were to, like the
Yeah.
comparison, like if it were to just start walking up on us, we would see it for like hours before it got here, first of all. But second, probably not hours, because it would be like 2 steps and it would be there. But it's so big that you would only be able to see like a piece of it. Like I forgot how big it says in the Bible, how big it says it is, but it's like so big that I'm like, how does that even fit on this planet?
So, not too long ago, a couple, 1 to 2 years ago, they monitor the ocean water levels now. And about 1 to 2 years ago, if you look at the water levels in a certain area right north of Antarctica, in between Africa and South America,
Yeah, where those
the water
waves were
level,
coming from.
the water levels raised like 100 feet or something for like 30 minutes. And you can look and see how big of an area this covers from satellite images. And it's like the size, almost the size of a continent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that, like, my brain just cannot compute a living thing that big being able to move.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was last year because that stuff, I remember seeing that stuff last year and being like, not totally believing it. Like, because I saw it on TikTok, so I just kind of took it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So, there's an opposite of Leviathan, right?
uh,
A land
yeah,
version,
what's that one called?
Behemoth.
Behemoth, yeah. And that one, isn't it supposed to like come out of some hills or some mountains or something like that?
I think it's underground.
Yeah, it says that I think it says it comes out of the ground.
I haven't got that far in the Bible yet, but
Oh,
that's my personal assumption is that it comes out of the ground.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it says it comes out of like mountains somewhere.
So after, where were we? After, oh yeah, we were talking about the even story.
Yeah. Are you gonna stay?
No, I'm about
Okay.
to go hammered again. After the even story, have you heard the alien visitation in some like, I think it was in like Zimbabwe or something
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I've heard
at
of
a
it. The one
school?
where, yeah, it goes to the school and like
Yeah.
all the kids can recall it, and the teachers didn't
Yeah,
believe
there's
them.
like 100 kids that will still go on camera and talk about it
Yeah,
that are full grown now.
I watched a documentary on it, but I mean, all it was just showing like the kids grown up now doing the interviews and being like, "Yeah, we saw this," and then them
Yeah.
interviewing the teachers and the teachers being like, "But I don't know."
The one I watched, there were some teachers that even were like, "Yeah, we saw it."
Huh, interesting. Yeah, the one I watched, the teachers either completely were like, "Nah," they were just little kids, and they thought they saw something. That or the teacher was like, "I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to know if they saw something or not."
Yeah.
But what do you think that was the government, or do you think that was
Yeah, I
angels
think
and
that was
demons?
probably a staged event.
Yeah.
I think that's when we fully had complete control over the technology by that point. And I
What year was that? Was that in like
think
the?
that was like 60s, 70s or something, I want to say.
I wouldn't even know how to look it up to verify.
Maybe 80s. Like it wasn't that long. It was around the time I was born.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because the people that were being interviewed were like, maybe.
Like 40s.
Yeah, I was gonna say they looked younger than mom and dad.
Yeah.
But apparently that's happened a lot, like at schools. Like there's that one, and then there was one I was watching. I think this one was like in Ireland. The kids saw a UFO go over, and because it interviewed them, and then I don't remember what their account was, other than it was just like a UFO in the sky, and they didn't really know what to think of it. And then when I was watching Joe Rogan the other day, they were talking about these cases, and they said that it's happened in Australia too.
Have you ever heard of the Battle of Los Angeles?
Yeah, but I don't know anything about that. I've just heard the name.
That was a supposed UFO.
Is that the one where
Like,
they like spotlighted it and were shooting at it?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've heard a little bit about it then. There's pictures of that one. Battle of Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
I mean, all you can really see is spotlights up in the air and like gunfire going at it. You
Yeah.
can't make out a solid object. But there's multiple eyewitness accounts
What year
describing
was
the aircraft and what it looked like and everything.
and they couldn't take it down.
Yeah, it had some kind of force field around it, is what all the eyewitness accounts say.
Yeah, this was 1942, so this would have been before Roswell.
Yeah, this is kind of when this is like right before World War II kicked off.
Huh. What do you think it was?
I think that was alien.
Yeah.
I don't think we had that technology quite yet at that point.
Huh. Yeah, that one's pretty crazy. Trying
Do
to
you
think.
know who William Tompkins is?
No.
He's one of the eyewitness accounts who it's confirmed he lived in that area at that time, and he later on went into the Navy and is like a high Navy decorated officer, and supposedly went on to these other programs. he's dead now, but I did a lot of research on him. He's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's real or fake, but very, very compelling. I would lean more towards the real side, but some of the information that he gives seems kind of off to me. But they could be playing mind games with some of these people, though, too, showing them some stuff that's real and some stuff that's not real. And it's that's the hard thing about this whole thing. Like, even the people that are telling the truth, they may be telling you some lies that they don't know are some lies, you know?
Right. Yeah, because when they do give any information, they purposely leak in some fake shit so
Yeah.
that it all they can trace back to who's leaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't know what's his account on it.
I mean, he talks about reptilians, Nordics. Have you heard of these beings?
Reptilians, yeah. Nordics, I've heard of them, but I couldn't tell you what they look like.
Us, just like us.
Are they all
They're
like?
normally taller and like I would imagine it's probably because their DNA is more pure, but they're like better looking, like just like fine, like specimen human being type looking people that are like taller and smarter, and supposedly they can communicate telepathically. And I
So
find that stuff kind of far fetched, but I mean, it could be true. I don't know.
like the different types of aliens?
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that there's like reptilian beings out there.
Yeah, there's I
Like,
used
I'm
to,
not against it. I just have a hard time believing it.
yeah.
I've done a lot of research on all that stuff. I'm not saying it can't be true. I just have a hard time buying into it, you know. But I mean, again, if you look at some of the way the Bible talks about things, like serpent, the serpent, like reptilians are would be kind of like a serpent being, in my opinion. So it doesn't necessarily make complete. It doesn't seem like complete nonsense to me.
Yeah. It just if aliens are like real things from outer space and other planets, I could see it being real just because like any like well, I mean that's if evolution's real, then anything could technically
Evolution's not real.
well, I'm saying if
It's not.
evolution right, but
I'm like 98% sure evolution's not real.
right. I don't
Like, the way they teach it, it's not real.
right, but
Like, I believe that there is a small amount of evolution, but it's not like the whole species changes completely. Like,
right.
little things change. Like, you get a little smaller. Like, your DNA doesn't fucking completely reconstruct, you
Yeah,
know?
you don't go from being you don't evolve from a reptile into a bird.
Yeah, you don't go from a fucking fish person to a fucking human being.
Right.
Like a little fish floating in the water to a human being. That doesn't. It's not how that shit works.
Right. But if you know, just saying if something was like a reptile on a different planet and you got whatever treatment we got, because I don't really think that we evolved naturally, anyways, from like primates. Like there was definitely there was an intervening at some point from something that
Yeah.
sped things up for us, and that's why like we're where we are today.
See, I
But
have a different opinion on that, and I'm not gonna talk about it on here because
why?
it's very controversial, and yeah, it just wouldn't be good for me to talk about it on here.
Okay. But
I'll talk to you about it when we get off, but that's something you should ask me about off camera sometime.
yeah. But yeah, it like I think there was something I heard that like that's what that person that I heard talking about it thinks happened was that like something came here and basically changed our DNA to make us smarter and like taught us languages and shit, and that's when we really took off from there.
That's what Satan would like you to believe.
I mean, that's just what this person said. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
saying
just
that
saying
I
my
subscribe,
personal opinion. That's what I think.
but if that were a thing that happened, like the reason why I'm like, I don't know about all that is because if that's what's happening, and that's probably what's happening on other planets too, that's why there's like, you know, reptilians and bug people, like, because apparently there's like a praying mantis type of alien that looks like praying mantises, and
Yeah,
like, okay, so if there's something doing that to these different things, then whoever's doing that, who did that to them? You know, like there has to be a start somewhere. You know, which makes it kind of
that's
not
if you believe
believable.
in it in that type of.
Right. Like
Like
that's
that's like in my opinion, that's a crazy theory.
well to me that's like
Because what that's like where did the supreme being come from? Like there had to have been a supreme being somewhere.
right. But even okay,
Which leads you back to God.
this is a question that I have about God is like what what was before him,
Nothing.
and how does that even that doesn't make any sense.
You should probably study some psychology. It probably make you understand it a little better. Like so here's kind of a dumbed down way of to look at it. What came first, thought or physical being?
Thought or physical being?
Uh-huh. What would have to occur first?
Or well
For all of this?
well that kind of makes me so my thinking is thought because but if thought is a an electrical response, if that makes
That's a
sense.
scientific way of looking at it, but that's a very basic scientific way of looking at it.
But that's where my brain would tell me to go, is thought probably
Right.
came first.
That's like you're like scratching the surface. You're not getting in there deep, which is why I presented it to you the way I presented it to you. You should probably think upon this.
Well,
And
okay. So energy, the more energy something has, it like moves, right? And so to
but
me,
but this doesn't need energy.
this what? I don't, I mean, what is
God
this?
doesn't need energy. God is energy.
Okay, but energy is a thing
Right.
that,
God created everything.
and, but energy can't create itself. It has to be created.
That's what we've been taught.
Right. Yeah. Just going off of the knowledge that I have, that is what I'm
Exactly.
thinking.
That's why I'm saying I based it to you in a certain platform that will
But it doesn't lead me.
hopefully.
It doesn't. It just
I
leads
mean,
me
you're asking the right questions. I'm liking this.
like, like to me, there's a like a
But one thing you need to do is like when you think, like when you just keep thinking about this, and when you think of something, and if you can't ask somebody like I can probably answer a lot of the questions that you would come up with, but if I'm not around, you can do some research on it, and that'll help you a lot more, even more than me just telling you.
yeah, but that doesn't answer like that doesn't get me there now.
I know you
That
can't get there now, Ethan. That's not how it works. This is not something that you can just learn overnight.
but it's something that can be told in words.
No, not even that.
So you couldn't explain it to me if you wanted to.
No, but I can answer the questions that you're going to conjure in your head. And these, hopefully, these questions keep conjuring in your head. And these questions in your head, conjuring, will present things throughout your life and teach you these things.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I did like um there was something you said in one of the last podcasts that like maybe you said something like maybe the apple from the Garden of Eden was like us going into a simulation that the devil has created. And
Yeah.
that really resonated with me and would explain why like shit just doesn't add up here. Like why there's a disconnect.
Exactly.
The only issue with that is like why would there be, if this is a place that the devil created, then why would there be a book explaining like
So a better way to think of it in that aspect is the software was already here. The devil is the virus.
Okay.
The virus can't overtake the entire program.
Okay. So we're just in an infected part of the program, basically, and we're stuck in it.
Not necessarily.
That's what
The
it
entire
sounds like.
program is infected.
I think we're saying the same thing, just a different way.
Okay. Yeah, what I think I understand what you were saying now.
Yeah, like
We exist in a tainted part of reality.
yeah, but it's like it's not the whole. It's just a piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, that sucks. That just makes me feel sick to my stomach.
I mean, I get that. But when you realize that this is like even this is not that bad, like I can have a good time here. But just imagine like when we get to where we're meant to be, like what kind of time is that going to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like this sucks. I've
I mean, I do a lot too.
like I look at this thing as a whole and I'm like, this has really not been fun. And it doesn't
But
like
I feel like that's part of the battle though, Ethan. Like if you go through your life thinking it sucks, it's going to fucking suck. But
yeah,
if you enjoy the little moments through life, like life's going to be a lot better.
yeah. I guess I just have my brain has a hard time enjoying things like that because it's so
Mine,
like
trust me, dude, I get it. Mine did too.
like yeah, mine just sits there and just and it's every day and everything just like fucking drains me because I'm just like God, like this fucking blows. Like,
You know what's crazy? Like when you when you get to like a different kind of aspect on life, like I feel like me and you are kind of on different perspectives of life. Like things that you think suck in life are things that I don't like I love. And things that you don't want no part of, like I just I I like that now.
yeah, maybe it's something when I in a you're like 8 years older than me. Maybe in 8 years
Yeah,
I'll get there.
I've had a lot more time to ponder about this stuff, and
Yeah,
I read, I do a lot of research about stuff.
yeah. I don't like. I feel like for the most part I've pretty much given up, like on like everything.
See, like I I gave up on stuff, but I've always been obsessed with just learning stuff,
Yeah.
like learning history and religions and just like ancient philosophy and stuff like that. Like I just eat like that's I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's led me down some dark paths sometimes because I've thought about things in the wrong way from some of the things that I've learned. But I've ended up where I'm at, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I know I know this is not where I imagined myself being at this point in my life,
Right.
but I'm completely okay with it because I'm sure if things would have happened the way I wanted it to happen, I would not be as good of a person as I am now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was a pretty shitty person through a lot of my life to other people.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm at a point where like I don't when it comes to other people, I just don't even want to be involved.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it now too, because I just don't fit in with people anymore.
Yeah. Like
I just try to be nice to people, not as nice to people as I can. And even when they treat me bad, like don't, I don't let it tempt me.
yeah. I don't know. I just kind of
You can't, you can't be petty.
right.
It's not about you.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't know. The greatest way that I can describe it is I just like I'm just so over it. Like everything. I'm exhausted and it seems like, no matter how much sleep I get, I never feel any better. Like, and this also could just be because I'm off my medications. Because I don't think I feel this way when I'm on my medications. But being off of it, I'm like, it feels like I just don't want to be here at all most of the time. And that's
Well,
just,
there's a fix for that, Ethan.
yeah. But that's like where I'm at is I'm just like, God, I wake up every day and I'm just like, ugh.
Dude, I'm telling you, just read your Bible. Read a Bible every day. Just read one chapter every day. I guarantee you'll start feeling better.
Yeah. I have one
That's what
somewhere.
I do when I start feeling, when I do some fucked up shit, like, which I don't even do really fucked up shit anymore. But like when like, small shit, like, fucks with me anymore. And like, if I start feeling really bad, like, I just I'll read a couple chapters in my Bible and I'll just sit there and like I feel a lot better afterwards.
Yeah. I have one somewhere around here. I just don't know where it's at. It's in a haven't gotten it out since I moved here.
Yeah.
It's a
And I mean, if anything, it is a history book.
yeah.
A lot of stuff in there is literally proven fact, like it happened, and like, which I've just become a lot more eager to learn things as I've gotten older. Like when I was young, I just feel like people were telling me to learn, and I didn't like that. I'm a very rebellious person. I'm sure you realize that at this point in my life. But like now I don't have nobody telling me to learn anything, and I'm just constantly reading and watching like documentaries and
Yeah.
who would have thought I would have been a nerd?
Yeah. Uh, uh, Anyways, back to aliens.
Yeah, where
Uh,
were we at with that?
we had talked about Battle of Los Angeles, which made me think of the Phoenix Lights, but that was quite a bit later.
Yeah, that was like in the 90s, I think. Late 90s. Or no, that was 2022?
No, that was in the
Or no,
80s.
2002. 2002, I'm sorry.
The Phoenix Lights?
Yeah, somewhere around 2000, I think.
Oh, it was 1997.
Uh,
I thought it was in the 80s. But there was a lot of witnesses on that one.
yeah.
And what's another big one?
Another big one.
Has there really been any big ones since that one? Like made major headlines?
I mean, there are the TikTok video or Tic Tac videos
Oh yeah.
that the government released, which those, those got debunked.
Those got debunked?
Yeah.
I haven't heard about that yet. How did they get debunked?
I think it was some like missile or something that
That
they were tracking.
that can like spin in midair and shit?
Oh, that video. I don't know if that video has been debunked. I'm talking about the go. Actually, it was called Go Fast. The
Oh,
Go
Go
Fast
Fast.
video.
I've heard of Go Fast, but I don't know that I've seen that one. But yeah, the Tic Tac, that's the one where they're trying to lock onto it and it's like spinning around and moving
Well,
really fast, but it's also
no, when it,
like
it
changing direction.
tilts like that and then it just like disappears.
Oh, okay. But and that's
Which
how
that actually mimics exactly what Bob Lazar says the technology does.
yeah, yeah. Is what
That's
which
another crazy thing. Like, there's so many videos like of this fucking technology that these people talk about,
and
and
they
people still don't understand this shit. Like,
and not
people still think we live in a normal world.
yeah. And not only has it been talked about, but they've been talking about this stuff for like a long time. Like since I mean Bob Lazar started talking about it in the 80s.
He came out in '89, the year I was born.
Yeah. And that's a long time. I mean, we're just now like catching video of one of these things doing something, or
Yeah,
they're
people
just
are
now
just now
releasing it.
catching on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which at this point, this is that stuff is all our craft, in my opinion. Like, that ain't even alien technology. I think probably 95% of what you see on video that looks legit is probably our stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so since like supposedly we got this alien technology, you think instead of them being aliens, it's like demons. Do you think that whoever was getting this technology, do you think they knew it was demons or do you think they thought it was aliens?
I think they thought it was aliens.
Yeah.
I think the demons were basically giving it to us. another form of control, the way I
Yeah.
look at it.
Well, they were probably like, these guys are gonna do nothing good with this shit.
Yeah, they're gonna use this shit for bad stuff. Let's
Yeah.
give it to them.
Yeah. But I wonder why it took them so long. Or maybe it didn't take them so long. I mean, maybe that's why civilization has wiped itself out so many times.
Well, I mean, if they're not, so I feel like before the flood, they were allowed to just come out and openly manipulate us. Like that were the Greek gods, the Olympic gods. Like those were all like alien life forms, in my opinion. And then after the flood, God didn't allow them to physically manipulate us like they can, like interact with us and everything.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't just crash land and with this technology right when we started out, be like, here, figure this shit out. We're still trying to figure out how to talk to each other.
Right.
And then once we got to a point where they're like, oh, I think they can figure this out now. Let's land one of these over here.
It just occurred to me, like, you don't ever hear about, like, the Egyptians talking about ghosts, ever.
No.
Like, that seems to be a relatively modern man thing.
Which ghosts are a very bizarre subject, in my opinion.
Why?
I just don't understand really exactly what they are. I mean, I've got a a good hunch of what they are, but the way that I've seen off video, not physically experienced myself, but I guess kind of how they can physically manipulate certain things that they want to manipulate. Like, in my opinion, I feel like ghosts are energy of people, like specific people trapped in areas, but how they would have a conscious, thoughtful mind to be able to interact with something else confuses me.
Yeah. I used to think that there were, like, good and bad ghosts. I don't think there's any good ghosts. Now,
Yeah.
like, just experiencing what I've experienced and the feelings that I've gotten every single time, it was never like, oh, this is good. Like, it was always like, this is the scariest fucking thing. My body would have a reaction that was like, this is bad. Like, every single time. Like, there was never a single time where my brain or my body told me, like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
But, like, when I was younger, I was fucking stupid and would be like, oh, that was scary. I'm going to do this again. That was fun. But now I'm like, no, there was nothing good about anything that's ever happened.
I think I may have just figured out the answer to my question.
What do you think?
Like, people leave behind energy in certain areas where like their physical energy is in certain areas where they produce a lot of energy. And demons can maybe manipulate that energy to their own will.
Yeah. But I think demons can also, like, they can use the energy just by taking it out of the air.
Oh
Or,
yeah, but I'm
out of
just
your
saying, like,
phone.
how, like, it's disguised as like certain people and
Yeah.
like in certain areas, like there's a certain character that's described to like certain ghost being that's described to show up.
In that area.
Yeah, that's because that certain being has a lot of energy in that area. But then maybe a demon can come in, actually manipulate and physically form that energy.
Yeah, kind of like puppeteer the situation.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. But it never like I don't know. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, I think it was a family member or something like that." I've never
Yeah.
had anything like that happen. That was
Yeah.
like that I was like, "Oh, I think this was a positive experience." Like looking back on it all, I was every time I'm like, that was terrible."
I mean, I feel like that's possible too, but that's like a gift from God. Like
Yeah.
God given them the ability to come, like physically show you something for a second, you know?
Yeah. Like I get like people getting like car wrecks and they'll say that they'll they'll live, but they'll say like during that process they'll have like a dead relative visit them.
Yeah.
Like I've heard of that. And so maybe that's what that is. Yeah, that could be.
That kind of makes sense.
But I just know like if we ever went like ghost hunting in real life, we're not going to have any good experience.
Oh yeah.
Like there's
Definitely
not
not.
yeah, there's
If you're provoking the yeah, if you're provoking it, yeah,
yeah,
it's not gonna give you a good experience. And I feel like that would be because it's a demon controlling it, you know?
right.
Like it's there's certain areas that have a high energy of certain people and it's just controlling that energy in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Part of me still wants to actually ghost hunt in real life again, though. But like another part of me is like, I'm too old for that shit.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it, but I'd go about it a completely different way than I would have in the past.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Definitely.
I'd come at it with a way more religious aspect
Yeah.
than I did back then. Like back then, it was like,
I would have
oh,
went in guns ablaze and just come at me, fuck bag. Or,
yeah,
you know.
like well, it was a thing of like, I didn't have an understanding of like how this could affect me
Yeah.
in the long
Well,
run.
not only you, but the people around you too.
Right. And it like I just didn't understand that there could be long lasting effects of doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And now I understand that. And so like that's really where my hesitation comes in. It's like in the moment, yeah, it would be scary, but it's really like down the road what that's gonna do to me or the other people that are there. Like, ugh,
It's going to use that other energy to come to you and try to attach onto you.
yeah. And it's just like, I don't like I don't I think it's just because of how exhausted and negative I feel about everything now that I'm like, I don't need any more. I don't need any more. I can't handle any more of that shit.
Yeah. You ain't even old yet, Ethan.
I know. But I've had a lot of crazy ghost shit happen that like I never forget about.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel like it's like ever gone. It's always like lingering there. And I think that's why I have like panic attacks and shit. Like, just there's just always this feeling of something. Like, I don't know. It didn't used to be this way.
I know I can feel like dark presences around me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I usually make a lot of bad decisions. Like when that feeling is around me. So where were we on ghosts or aliens?
um, Tic Tac.
Yeah. It's funny that we keep going back to like spirits and stuff. Like I feel like it's all attached, honestly.
Intertwined.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like I do too. Like I didn't at first, but once you mentioned it, and I really got to thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I think you're probably right on that. But I just my whole life, I've really wanted their like aliens to be this good thing that happens to humanity, and like
I'm still
most
not opposed to the fact that there could be aliens out there.
say that again.
I just think what's interacting with us is not like if there is something that's interacting with us on a frequent basis, it's not for our own good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I like because most of my life, there's always been this like, what if there are aliens? Nowadays, it's more like, okay, so there is, but what the hell are
What
they?
are they? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a letdown of like they're not this thing that's gonna come like make everything better, and that's depressing to me because like there was always this hope in my like just in my heart, I guess, that I was like one day maybe aliens will be real and maybe they'll come just make life so much better for everybody. And then that's not the case, or that's not how shit's happening. And so I'm like, fuck, this is, it's just another shitty thing on top of already all the shit that has already been. And that, oh, it's just a
Yeah,
huge
but
letdown.
you really learn and think about things, you realize that the whole shitty like situation that we're in was because of them in the first place.
Yeah.
Like they were never here to make us better.
Yeah.
They're here
That's true.
because they don't like us.
And that, yeah. And isn't that just disappointing?
Not
Like,
necessarily.
well, like there's a version of reality where they're the good guys that make everything better. But that's not what the reality is. You know, and that
Right.
to me that's just so like I've waited my whole life for this and
But then when you really learn, you understand that they don't like us because we're better than them. Which means we don't have to go through all this.
but we're gonna, you know.
Well, that's because in my opinion, we can't rise. One of us can't rise without the other. We have to rise together.
Are you talking about people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep one of us down,
They can keep everybody down.
they're gonna drag everybody else down with them.
Yeah. And it's like, this isn't even really like, they're just getting started, you know? It's not even as bad as it's gonna get.
Right.
It's gonna get way worse, and like probably in our lifetime, and that just, I don't know. It's just like, damn it.
But like I said, Ethan, like think of all the good times you've had in this life. That's not even a scratch compared to where we can be
Yeah.
later on. We may have to suffer for a while, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's hard for me to get out of my head about it.
I mean, yeah, it lingers in there. But once you really understand that, like, the people who control the world really do worship Satan, what's that mean? That means that God exists.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, that just, I don't know. To me it just like,
Things don't come easy, Ethan. Nothing comes easy.
yeah.
You don't get a nice body from sitting on the couch and eating fucking potato chips. Shit's
Right.
hard.
Right. And I guess it's probably just a perspective thing, but like I look around at other people like that just have
A
their
good
life,
life.
yeah, their lives are so much easier. And I'm just sitting here like, damn, it's never been that
Right.
way.
That's when you got to understand your test is not the same as their test.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets asked the same fucking questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just wish I, it really, when I think about it the most, I'm just like, man, I'd really like to have like a nice job, a nice stable job, and my own place. And then
Yeah.
I'd have a lot better of a perspective of life.
Maybe
But
you wouldn't.
maybe I wouldn't, but like from where I'm at now and where I've ever been, that's the perspective I have now.
I know if I had a chum life, I would not know anything that I know now.
Yeah.
Like, if I could have just partied, had sex with girls every fucking day, I'd have done that and not learned a fucking nothing.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, like I said, I think it's just all a perspective thing, but
It is. It is. Just something that you need to ponder on.
I
The
mean,
hand you're dealt is not always the shittiest, trust me.
oh yeah, no, I know people.
Sometimes,
There's people got it
sometimes
worse
when
for
things
sure.
are going bad, you got to look at it like, you know what? Maybe this is the best hand that I could have been dealt. So if I was dealt another hand, maybe I'd be dead right now. Maybe I got robbed
Yeah.
and killed. it's it's tough to look at life that kind of way. But I mean, you honestly you just need to start praying more. Like God will talk to you.
Yeah.
Like I told you, he's giving me signs. And it'll like be shit that you're thinking about, like, and then all of a sudden just something happens right in front of you that deals exactly with what you've been stressing about all fucking day.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to this job thing, like I've been turned down by so many places, and I'm just like, I keep telling myself like this is supposed to happen. Like this is the plan. Like something else is in the works. And like, but I'm just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, what if I lose my car? Like, what if, like, like I've now not been able to pay my bills for like a couple of months, and I'm like, whatever's happening needs to happen quicker, I think. But it's something that
Well,
I can't, but I, yeah, but it's something
maybe
that I,
you need to be praying more.
no, I mean, I pray about it all the time and I think about it all the time, but, and like, it's like,
Don't pray about it. Don't pray for yourself. Pray for other people.
yeah,
Put yourself last in that conversation with God.
yeah. Uh, I don't really know where to go from here.
Well, um, yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of the UFO crashes that I know of. I mean, there's some others which, if you listen to Stephen Greer's new podcast, he talks about one UFO sighting that's pretty famous. That
What's his podcast
uh,
called? Is it on YouTube?
just Dr. Stephen Greer talks about a family. I think it was a mom and her sister or something with their and the mom was in the front seat, son in the back, driving down the road. Then all of a sudden they see some UFO flying by with like molten lava spitting out of it. And then it just like stops, like, I think it gets real low to the ground and stops in front of them. They stop their car. This is like back in the 50s or 60s or something like that. The cars are all made of metal, you know. And the mom gets out of the car and this thing's just floating there, and she can feel the heat radiating off of it. And so she goes to jump back in her car to like get the hell out of there, and the car itself is just like melting hot almost. Like it burns her hand grabbing the door handle. And I forget what happens after that. I don't know if they drive away or if it flies away or whatever. But they end up trying to sue the government because it was near a Air Force base where this happened, and they assumed it was an Air Force craft of some sort. And the government claims that it's not theirs and everything, so they got away with it, of course. And this family dealt with these radioactive illnesses their entire life and ended up dying early, I think. I think the son ended up growing like a tumor or something later on in his life.
I think I saw something about that, or saw an interview with that family, and they said that like when they first saw it, they thought it was God, so they got out to pray.
That I don't know. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I've read about, like this is like 10, 15 years ago when I read about this stuff. I don't remember that, but that doesn't sound familiar to me.
If this is the same one that you're talking about, that's what I heard from their, like, it wasn't a documentary. They went on like a daytime TV show and were talking about it, but they said at first they thought that it was like God returning, and so they like got out to pray, and that's when they got the burns, and it ended up taking off, and yeah, they had really bad radiation from it. But this was before they had all died. They just had really bad radiation burns and shit from it, and they assumed it was the government after that, and they were like talking about how they were really disappointed in the government for not taking action and like trying to help them because they were dying because of what happened.
Another reason that they thought it was the government was there were like some helicopters that were chasing the thing.
Okay.
Like flying in towards it.
That makes sense. Huh.
And then there's the UFO sighting of Rendlesham Forest.
What's that one?
These two, I think they were U.S. Army men at a base over in Rendlesham, which Rendlesham, I don't know where the fuck it's at. It's somewhere over in Europe, I think. And they were doing their normal nightly stakeout or patrol or whatever, and they saw a light fly down into the forest, so they went to go investigate, and they came across a pyramid-shaped craft. It was all black, and it had hieroglyphs wrote on the side. And one of them touched it, and he said when he touched it, like a bunch of ones and zeros popped in his head, and he ended up writing them down in a notebook later on, which they put them into a computer, and I forgot what the message said, but
it showed the star system they were from.
It made sense.
Yeah, yeah. It showed what star system it was from.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I have heard of that one. Which that's the same star system that I've heard of other, like, it was this like that Sirius star system or whatever it's called.
Series B or Series A or
yeah. Which I thought it was all the same. I just learned maybe last week or 2 weeks ago that there's 3 different planets there, or 3 different stars there
Three
that have
different stars,
planets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Three
And
different solar systems right there.
apparently they're all 3 of them have different
Oh,
aliens there.
can't believe I forgot Bernie and Barney Hill.
I don't know that.
It was the reason this one was so believable was because it was an interracial couple, like back in the like 50s or 60s, like, and they went on the news and talked about this, and so that was really credible, I guess, because it was a white man with a black woman, and they're like, no, like
That
they
takes
wouldn't be trying to publicize themselves if it was like this, and like they got a. I remember that they were driving down the street. This was back in the 50s, I think, and they saw a UFO and they parked on the side of the street and were looking at it, and then all of a sudden they just woke back up in their cars and like their clothes were on backwards or something like that, and they had weird markings on them, and I think their dog was gone. It was with them.
Hmm. I've never heard
But
of that one.
that was supposedly Gray's, and that was, I think that was the first time anybody documented like this stark constellation of Sirius, like
Hmm.
documented the exact pattern because they showed them where they lived, and the woman was able to like draw it down, and nobody even knew what it was until later on when they discovered that star constellation. They're like, holy shit, this matches right up with.
Yeah. Have you seen? I think it was American Horror Story, the second season. The
Yeah,
they have a bit on there that's about that.
yeah, we talked about whoa, are you talking about the
Mm-mm. No, this is so this like I don't even know why it's on that season because nothing else. That season is about the asylum, like the insane asylum. But before it shows the insane asylum, it shows the interracial couple getting abducted by aliens.
yeah, I have not seen that.
Yeah, then not this last season, but like 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, something like that. That's the one where they did like the whole aliens and people mixing.
Interbreeding and
Yeah. Which I don't know. Some of that seems pretty like seems to match like they either got some inspiration off of real shit that happened or they're onto something.
yeah, that came all from the conspiracy theories,
Yeah.
which I mean, it could be possible. I think that all matches up with Bible theories, honestly.
Yeah, try. But wouldn't that just make uh Nephilim again?
Well, it says in the Bible the end of days will be like the days of Noah before and after the flood,
Uh
which before the flood they were interbreeding and genetically modifying people and animals. Like that's another thing that people don't understand. Back then, like they did have technology that would they could do this kind of stuff back then. Nothing's new under the sun.
yeah.
It's all written right there for us if we pay attention to it. The stories are all there. The folklore stories and the Bible stories and religious stories, they all match up right with each other if you really look at it.
Hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that that was all supposed to happen again. But
Yep.
because, I mean, I don't know, that I made giants last time, right? Or no, we had talked about this. There were different types of people, right?
Yeah,
Different types of creatures.
different beings, all
Yeah.
different kinds of beings, mermaids, giants.
That's insane. It's crazy.
It yeah, it is crazy to think about.
It makes me like I want to know what the Smithsonian knows. There's some sketchy shit going on with the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
They've been hiding a lot of shit.
Which have we talked about how big some of these giants were?
I'm not sure if we have or not. I know that I think the biggest I've heard about was like 14 feet tall or something like that.
Oh, that's nothing.
How tall?
38, 40 feet.
Like where would it live? That's like I just don't understand what?
That's why God had to do what he did.
Yeah. It's just to me that's just mind blowing to be like like 40-foot person or
And
humanoid thing.
it's not even only, you're not just 40 feet tall, like, you're like robust.
Well,
Like,
you'd
you're a
have to be.
muscular man.
Yeah, you'd have to be to hold up all that weight.
Yeah.
Like, and they were
Jack
cannibals.
and Beanstalk has some truth to it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like fucking cannibals. Like 2 rows of teeth.
Do you know why they didn't originally start eating people? It's because like they grew so fast and they just had to consume so much to like keep their mass. Like they would just consume everything around them.
Huh. And so it just came to it to where they just had like started eating people.
Yeah.
Huh.
But like people worshipped them because they were giants, you know, and like these things just consumed everything. And then they're like, hey, you guys gotta, I'm hungry.
Right. Huh. Do you think there's giants walking around today somewhere?
Yeah,
I
that
wonder,
is a fact. That is a guaranteed fact.
yeah, where do you think they are?
What do you think Sasquatch is?
A giant? You think he's a giant?
That's exactly what it is.
Huh. I don't
That's
know.
why we have never been shown what the fuck a Sasquatch is. Those motherfuckers exist.
Hmm. Why do they
Those.
hide?
So remember when I said we're in a symbiotic relationship with something that disguises itself as aliens, not to alarm us.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of that group
Mm.
in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
But Bigfoot, like, typically that's related to bat. Like, typically when somebody's got a Bigfoot story, it's like trying to get, like, hurt them. Like
Well,
that.
that's what I'm saying, Ethan. A symbiotic relationship is not a good relationship.
Oh,
Most symbiotic relationships are parasites.
oh. I did not know that. I don't think I understand. I don't think I know the definition of symbiotic.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think they're all Bigfoot though, or do you
Yeah.
think there's?
100%.
But do you
There's
think that?
different. They look different. They don't all look the same. Like some have more hair than others.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, cause I know I've heard of like people in caves that are real big, but they're like redheads and like
Yeah.
not hairy. And I think those were in like Afghanistan or something like that, or somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
Talking about the giant of Kandahar.
Maybe. I think so. Do you think there's any in the U.S.?
Sasquatch.
Yeah. And they just hide out in caves, or?
See, I'm not 100% on like what their motive is. I just know that they, in my opinion, they fall under the faction of angel or demon.
Hmm.
I would assume that they would be bad because most of the stories you hear about people that encounter them, not good. There have been a few stories that I have read of children running into them, and those situations turn out okay for the children.
Hmm.
But maybe the innocence of a child, I don't know. Yeah, they're real, Ethan. I promise you, they're real.
I just never would have. I would have categorized Bigfoot and giant as different things.
I would have for a long time too, until uh, I mean, the Bible kind of got me on that idea, and then there's a look up a YouTube channel, Facts About How to Hunt. This guy that lives up in Alaska, he hunts for a living, and like he's told his stories about seeing these things, and he tells you that they're not monkeys,
Okay,
they're
I
not
found it.
apes. He says they're people, and then he started talking about this stuff, and he talks about it all the time, and he encourages other people to give him information about it, and he says that he's talked with, for some reason, nuclear power plants. There's they come to nuclear power plants a lot. According to nuclear physicists,
Hmm.
these beings come to nuclear power plants a lot.
Interesting.
And he said one of the scientists told him, like, they found one, and it was like way far away, and they were able to look at it, and this was in the dark, and they were like behind a rock, and they were kind of like monitoring it from a camera behind this rock. And I don't remember what happened. I think he said, like, there was a he's on a nuclear power plant, so there's soldiers with him, and I think he said one of the soldiers goes to light a cigarette, and as soon as he like struck the lighter, and they were still behind the rock, but somehow this thing, as soon as he struck the lighter and lit that light, this thing just turned and like looked at him, and they're like hundreds of yards away from this thing, and it could see the light behind the rock. And then there was some military soldiers that came and talked to this guy and told him about, they were I think they were in a chopper, and they had infrared sights, and they had their cameras down in night vision at first, and they saw something big just like digging into the ground, and they thought it was a bear or something. So then they hit it with their infrared light, and they said as soon as they hit it with the infrared light, this thing just like looks up at them, and it's like covering its eyes, like it's like burning its pupils, and then it just turns and it just like takes off sprinting like 40-50 miles an hour towards this mountainside, and they like follow it up this mountainside, but it could see their infrared light the entire time.
That's insane. That's cool. Here, I gotta go to the bathroom, but there's one, I just thought of a video that I'm pretty sure you've seen it, but I want to talk about it, but I'll be right back.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope the podcast is good so far. If you have any questions or want to cuss at me or anything, go ahead and put them in the comment section. I don't mind, even if they are negative. If you want to know anything, just let me know. I'll do my research and get you an answer if I don't already know. And hopefully Ethan gets back here soon.
Okay, so in this video, they it's these guys walking through a forest, and like it shows, they like zoom in on some feathers that are real big, and they're walking along, and as they're walking, you see this thing, like it's like this gray thing hunched over, and maybe they even maybe come across like a really big couple of wings or something. But anyway, they're walking along, and it's this like gray thing hunched over,
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
and they like step on a stick, and it like makes a
It's in
noise.
Russian. Yeah.
It's in some other language, and the thing like turns around and looks, and its eyes are glowing, and they just start hauling ass.
Yeah.
That's a cool video.
I mean, that would be what I would think they would call a skinwalker.
Skinwalker.
Yeah.
I thought skinwalkers were like was like a Native American thing.
I mean, that's where we learn of it. But see, that's the thing. Like vampires, they're real too. Not in the sense of what we think they are.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff, there's a little bit of truth to all the stories.
What about zombies?
I don't know of any actual accounts, but I'm hearing that we have figured out the technology to make zombies, and that's something that's on the table for the future.
That's such a like why? I've literally had nightmares my entire life about zombies, and I've always just had this feeling like it's gonna happen one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I don't think the rules will necessarily be what we know of zombies. I think it would be more along the lines of that one movie, World War Z.
So like a virus type of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how my mind would think about how a man made object would affect the body. Although I don't know, I'm not a biologist or anything like that, so
Right.
I don't know. But I
Yeah.
know it's possible, and
Yeah,
that's how I of it.
I've never had a dream of like zombies in the idea of like them coming out of the graves kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like reanimated dead corpses. Like, no, that is not ever how the dream is. It's very
Be like a person with rabies.
yeah. And that just the idea of that terrifies me. I cannot like that's a world I will not live in if that happens.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind. I think I'd be perfectly fine.
Uh
Because I feel like that's, in my opinion, like the way they talk about the rapture and stuff like that,
mhm.
like that's what I picture in my head.
Yeah. I don't know, it freaks me out. That's all I know. And like I didn't stop having those dreams until I figured out like a loophole in the dream. Cuz
Yeah.
well like in the dream it was always here at this house and I just kind of like wake up and shit's going down and like I would always just panic all the
I
time
mean,
like
that house would honestly be the best place to fucking wake up to something like that in.
I don't know. Like I've had different like versions of it in this house. Like there was one um there was like I remember there being like looking out my window and there was a church across the street in my dream and there were nuns outside and one of the nuns like was like eating another nun on a
Holy
car.
shit.
What?
That just popped an image into my head. When we were little, there was a church that was right to the left of the house where that little alleyway is right in between our house and the other house?
Yeah.
Right on the other side of that alleyway, where that newer house is, there was a church there,
Really?
and it burned down. I remember standing out on the sidewalk in the middle of the night, watching it burn down.
Was it a nun church? Were there nuns?
No, there weren't no nuns there. It was a tiny little church, but there was
Did
a church.
was it like uh did it have like a steeple thing on the front?
Yeah. Yep.
Was it white?
Yep.
That's fucking weird. Cause yeah, that's literally I had a dream that I looked out this window, like I got up, looked out the window, and there was a church there where that house
Yeah.
is.
There was a church there.
And out front of the church there was a nun eating another nun, like outside. And that's like, did it have bells?
I don't think it had a bell.
Okay, there were bells in the dream.
This
That's
was when I was like, I would have been like 4 or 5 years old when I watched that thing burn down.
huh.
Like it was pretty close to when we moved into that house.
That's weird. I don't like that at all.
I
But anyway, how
we forgot about that church being there. Like you just said that.
well, I remember it somehow. But that was one of the dreams. But like I used to have these dreams all the time. Like it was like a weekly basis I would have dreams like that. And it was when I found out that mom had a pistol in the beauty shop. That's when the dreams changed because I would run downstairs in the dream, grab the pistol, run back up into your room, climb into the attic, and then I'd shoot myself in the head. And that's how I would end the dream. And that's how I got like ever since I figured out that like loophole, I've never like the dreams have really slowed down. I rarely have those dreams now.
Yeah, ask Justin about that tomorrow. See if he remembers it. Ask mom and dad about it.
Yeah.
That is that's crazy. I completely forgot that church was there.
Yeah, I can literally see it, like, cause it like burned an image in my brain, seeing the nuns outside eating each other. It'd be even weirder if it was a nun church, though.
No, I don't. I mean, when we moved into that house, that I don't even think anybody used that church anymore.
It was just like an empty old church
Yeah,
building.
it's like abandoned church.
Huh. It's odd. Oh. But yeah, I can pretty much draw what the church looked like. Like,
I remember at the front of it there was a steeple.
yeah, like it was for the most part all one level, but when you got up to the front, it
Yeah,
had like a
yeah.
yeah.
It may have had a bell in there. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, I think the bell is what woke me up in the dream, and I could hear bells going off outside. And that's what made me go look outside. And then that's when I saw all that shit going down. And then I don't really remember the rest of the dream because normally I just panic. Like I go into like having a panic attack. And then I typically end up in a situation where it's like I'm in the same room as a zombie and the zombie's just like getting right up in my personal space and I just kind of sit there and I'm like accepting it basically. And and then I'll wake up. But then that all like I once I started shooting myself in the head in those dreams stopped happening.
Probably not a good thing.
That's the solution for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already decided that if that is a world that happens, that's not a world I want to live in. So I think that's why it's gotten to a point because dreams, when you're dreaming, a lot of the times you can't tell the difference between that and reality. And so
Yeah.
I think I just have gotten to a point where I'm like, if this is a dream, I'll wake up. If it's not, I at least don't have to deal with this.
Yeah. I would just imagine that's probably not the answer God would want you to have.
Well, I guess, I mean, I don't know what answer he wants, but he knows what answer he's going to get. Because there's no way that I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to start another day like this. Like, nah.
Yeah, I don't. I I remember a lot of shit when I was little, and like I barely remember that. That's really weird.
Do you know what the church was called? I wonder if there's any pictures of it online. Probably not. There wasn't an internet back then.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's that's pretty wild though.
That's just one of I mean, many zombie dreams I've had. I don't know why it sticks out to me so much, but it does.
I'd be interested to hear Justin's output because he was older than me, and I know he was out there with me when it was burning down. Like
It
I remember all of us were out there. Me, Justin, and Ethan, or me, Justin, mom and dad. You weren't alive yet.
was mom pregnant with me at the time?
No, this was way before that.
Huh.
And I remember the firefighters trying to put it out. Justin was probably in first or second grade, I bet.
Yeah. Do you remember what time period it was? Like, was it what season, I guess? Was the grass green?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I just remember it on fire and like firefighters out there with the truck and the lights on.
So how old is
And
that house then?
it's not that old.
Huh. I did not know that. Because I just thought that K lady lived there forever. Like she's lived there my entire life. Well, she did live
Yeah,
there
I
my
mean,
entire life.
after that house got built, she moved in there.
Huh.
And I completely forgot about that.
I don't remember how long ago it was that I had that dream. I think I was in like high school or something, maybe middle school. I don't know.
Well, we're at what are we at right now?
2
Two and a
hours and
half.
40 minutes. Do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else to talk about.
Yeah, me either.
I'm kind of just stunned by the church thing.
Hmm. Well, all right then. Go ahead and wrap it up.
Josh,
I'm Ethan.
catch you on the next Thunderwoods.
Yeah.